Welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. And we have another interview for you. Tonight will be a Quest for Justice interview. If you're not familiar with our channel, we have a few different types of interviews that we do here. Primarily what we do is we interview the loved ones of missing persons and unsolved crimes in an effort to help spread awareness and hopefully bring justice to the stories. So if you know a missing person or maybe an unsolved murder, or even somebody that went through a very serious crime and survived it, lived to tell the story and feels that it would be therapeutic to get it out, anything along those lines, we do all those kinds of interviews. You can send them to me. My contact information is in the description, as well as the contact information of tonight's guest, who's Shanna Haden, who is a friend of Danniella Vian. I believe it's pronounced Vian. I apologize if I say that wrong. But we will go over all the basic information. What we're going to do is I'm going to read you guys some basics of the case, and then we'll bring Shanna on, which is typical practice here. Again, if you're not familiar with the channel, that's generally what we do here. We do it 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific, every night that we can get the interviews. It's a lot of work getting them, so it's typically not every night, but we try to do anywhere from 3 to 6 a week, depending on how many families we can bring on to try to help. So if that is something that you think would interest you, please click subscribe below and make sure to set the notification bell to all. We've been having a heck of a problem with notifications going out, so make sure that bell is set. Even if you do set it, it seems to be a problem, so we're trying our best. So I apologize to everybody who's been saying they're not getting notifications. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm trying a bit of everything. Our show is a little bit different than a lot of shows you see on these types of platforms in the way that we get the story directly from the horse's mouth. So instead of me reading articles and retelling it in my own way, what we try to do is bring on the guests directly, or the loved ones of the guests, to tell the story directly in their words. And we have a live chat, so the show is interactive, so you can ask questions. Maybe it's a case you've been following for years, that you've been wanting to ask certain questions for years, and this is finally your chance. Or maybe it's a brand new case and you're just getting flooded with questions. But either way, we do have the chat here to help you ask your questions and interact with the guests as much as possible. We try to get to everyone, so we do our best. So again, if that's something that you think would interest you, click subscribe below and set the notification bell to all. And we also do want to thank the Rowdy Crafter for helping bring the show to us tonight. You can check her out at facebook.com/therowdycrafter. And at the end of the show, we'll show a few screenshots and stuff of some of the things that she creates. But the show is sponsored by her tonight. And if you would like to sponsor the show or help out in any way, just go into the description towards the bottom. There'll be all the ways that you can support the channel. So thank you so much to everyone who does support us and helps us put as much time and effort as we can into, finding these families, researching the cases, and bringing them to you. So again, Danniella Vian is tonight's subject, and Shanna Haden is our guest. She's her friend. So what I'm going to do is read you guys an article. I tried to give you guys the very basics in the beginning because a lot of it's going to come from the guests, and it's much better coming from them than it is from me, of course. So let's start there, and I'll give you guys the minimal amount of information to get you caught up, and then we will bring Shanna on to tell us the full story and go over the timeline with us. So Danniella originally went missing near Mobile, Alabama, and she was missing for about a year. She went missing July of 2018. This article that I'm going to read is actually a year later when her car was found. So this was on July 10th of 2019. So I believe I said that correctly. She went missing July of 2018. She was found in her car submerged, deceased, of course, June of 2019, June 10th. So this article is from al.com, I believe. I guess Alabama. Yeah, alabama.com. So thank you so much to them. And it says, well, let me share my screen so you guys can see here. You can read along with me while I do. And in a moment, we'll bring up some pictures of Danniella and go over some of the basics. So DNA test confirms human remains found in submerged car belong to Danniella Vian. Human remains found in a submerged car in Saraland were confirmed Monday as belonging to Mobile mother Danniella Vian, who was last seen alive July 2018. The results were confirmed by Mobile Police Department. The vehicle, which was identified at the time as belonging to Vian, was found by chance by MPD divers conducting drills in Bayou Sara, May 2nd. So they weren't even specifically looking for the car. They happened upon it on some drills. The blue Chevy Cruze, which Vian had only just bought before going missing, was pulled from the water by police the following day. While a toxicology report could take up to a year to complete, investigators have said there was no evidence of trauma and believe the 25-year-old's death was likely an accident. How such an accident occurred is not yet known. Preliminary investigation has revealed that the condition as to how Vian's car was found in Bayou Sara is consistent with that of an accident. The investigation into her death will remain ongoing, said MPD Chief Lawrence Batiste at the time. The reason police decided to make the announcement was because of community fears that a dangerous person may still be on the loose. We wanted to at least let the public know that we are not looking for someone that is going around abducting women, he added. It says woman obviously means women. Vian's parents, Joy and Bill, said in a statement soon after their daughter's car was found that they still hoped the homicide unit would be able to find something. Daniella's father and I still have hope in the homicide division due to the fact that they have not closed the case and it's still ongoing, said the release. It looks like that is the end of the article. So we will end that there. And tonight we bring on Shanna, who is going to go over the timeline and go over everything with us. Shanna, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to say I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I've lost some friends myself, so I'm somewhat familiar, with that pain. It's absolutely awful. I admire your bravery for stepping forward and trying to help solve this case. So I just want to thank you so much and let you know you have our support here. And thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to start? Maybe tell us a little bit about Daniella and then lead us into the timeline of what we do know when she went missing.
Well, Daniella was a very bright soul. She was, the first word that comes to my mind anytime somebody asks me to describe Daniella is colorful. Just her personality, her appearance. She could make anybody smile. She, I don't know. I mean, really, she just kind of had this aura of a rainbow. She either had, crazy colored hair or crazy mismatched colored outfit or whatever it was. She wasn't afraid to be herself and really kind of embraced her uniqueness,
Right.
She was fun to be around. We did, I wasn't close when all of this happened. We actually hadn't talked for months when this all happened, just kind of back and forth on Facebook here and there on a, post or whatever. But before all of this, we worked together at a restaurant and we hosted kids night together. And on Tuesday nights, kids would eat free, and we were in charge of putting a craft together or something fun to do with the kids or whatever. And we alternated, so that was kind of cool. And she was our decorator. Anytime we had a holiday, we had big windows, and she would be the first to, volunteer to paint the windows and stay after and come early and do all that kind of stuff. She was just fun to be around. I mean, it was hard to be in a bad mood around Daniella. She made everybody laugh. And like I said, she just embraced herself and her silliness. And
very, very pretty girl. Looks very happy, a happy person, full of life.
Yeah, very full of life. Yeah, that's kind of what, I don't know, that's what made this all so crazy because, when she went missing on a Tuesday, and it wasn't until Thursday that, people started posting about it and, keep an eye out for her and she hasn't been seen and, her phone's been found and da-da-da-da. And it was crazy. It was crazy first to think that you see it on TV and, all that kind of stuff. But to know that it happened to somebody that is, a very uncomfortable feeling. And then just not knowing, it seemed like it just wasn't her, not just to, even though I wasn't close to her when this happened, it just wasn't something that you ever really would have thought Daniella would have done, that day she bought a car that I have found out that she had been saving up for, and she had to jump through some hoops to be able to get it, and get paperwork signed from here, and get insurance, and whatever, and then she got the car, and then all of a sudden that night, she's her in the car or nowhere to be
It was
found.
that very same day, huh? Well, I know it said soon before. Wow, same day.
Yeah, so she
Hmm.
was dropped off by her mother-in-law, Anna, at the dealership that morning to sign the final paperwork and get the keys and drive off. And they had the tracker installed on it the night before. I think that was part of the reason why she couldn't get it that day. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was insurance and that.
There was the tracker they installed.
Yeah, well, it was like a buy here, pay here place. So they install like a GPS, tracker on it, so that if she was to not make her payments, they could locate the car to be able to repossess it.
So was it destroyed in the water, or why did it take a year to?
No, so the GPS actually pinged the last time when she pulled into the Shell station that night. It tracks her movements all day that day, from the moment she drives off the lot, all the stops she makes, even everywhere she went that night. And then when she pulls into the Shell, her car pings, and then after that it doesn't ping. There's really no telling what happened. I don't know if it got disconnected, if a fuse was blown. I don't know. It's kind of.
Could it be that the water caused it, or those are probably made to withstand the water, though, right?
Well, and here's the thing: the water is 17 miles from the Shell. The Shell is where she was last seen. That's where they have surveillance of her. That's where her car last pinged.
Okay. Was she alone at the Shell?
No. So that night she, I'm assuming she, wanted to go hang out and celebrate, and it was a big deal. She hadn't had a car for over 2 years. And the last car that she had, I believe, was totaled. So it took her a while to be able to be in a position to get a car.
Is that what you mean? Because Ozzy says, what do you mean by she had to jump through hoops to get the car? I'm sorry to throw so many questions at you, but is that what you meant? Because she had trouble with the previous car?
Yeah, and because I think from what I understand, she had to get something like signed from like her apartment, just on her rent, like good payment on that, something from her job, more than like the average person would have to do. Maybe I don't know if it was a credit issue or just the past history or whatever, but it wasn't like she could just go in there, give somebody some money, and drive the car off the lot. So she had to get insurance first, I think. And I think that's part of it. I think when the last car was totaled, maybe there was like a lapse of insurance or something. So I think that like really, kind of affected her ability to be able to get a car for a while. So
so she finally does get it. And you said, so you think she was going to celebrate? She's at the Shell, not alone.
Yeah, so that was actually the end of the night. The Shell is the last place that anybody knows that doesn't know what happened that night knows of her being. That was the last place. That was where her car last pinged. That was where her car was seen on surveillance. And also that night, the story about why they pulled into the Shell is supposedly, they were going from one place to another, and she realized she had lost her phone and flashed the person that she was following to pull over, and they pulled over at this Shell station. And the person that she's following is calling her phone from Facebook and leaves I guess when you don't answer on Facebook, it like rolls over into a voicemail audio or whatever. And so there are actually audio clips from that night from them being at the Shell, supposedly looking for her phone or whatever it was that was happening there.
And so we're going to go into what we think she was doing or what we know she was doing. Who is she with at this point? Who's she following? Who's in her car?
The story is that she is in her car by herself, and that she is following a guy by the name of Denson White, who is a friend of the friend that she went to meet that night. She reached out to a friend named Randy Capps, who is a bartender. We both used to work with him at Heroes. or not Heroes, I'm sorry, Hurricanes. At the time that this happened, he was working at Heroes. He was bartending that night, and she'd reached out to him on Facebook. He told her to stop in, so she did. His friends, Denson and Mallory, showed up and joined her on the bar. And the story is that the three of them left there and went to another bar right down the road to wait for Randy to get off. And then they were going to go to Ollie's, all meet up at Ollie's together and have dinner and drinks or whatever. So when they leave Randy's bar, they go to the second bar. And when they leave the second bar, instead of going in the direction that they're supposed to go towards the third bar, they go the opposite direction. And that's how they somehow end up at the Shell station. Okay. Supposedly looking for the phone, or nobody really knows what happened there. Her phone was recovered back at the second bar, the bar that they had come from. But why? I guess the story that we were given was that Denson was headed home, and that apparently Daniella didn't get that, was left out of that communication, and for whatever reason followed him. The thing is, Daniella used to work at Ollie's. So as far as her pulling out and following him, thinking that he was going to Ollie's when they were headed in the complete opposite direction,
she wouldn't know.
Right. And then I don't know about you, but most of us have our phones attached to us. So when you leave that second bar, you pull up to a stoplight, like almost immediately. And then, a quarter mile down the road, there's another stoplight. You're going through, a handful of stoplights. I know personally that 9 times out of 10 at a stoplight, I pick up my phone and look at it. I just feel like she would have realized before then, before all the way down the interstate and 12 or 13 miles away from where they were, not only, hey, I'm going the wrong way, but I don't have my phone. So
when she was at the previous bar, was she and Denson spending time together talking to where they might have made plans to go hang out? She didn't know him well. He was a friend of a friend, right?
Right. They might have met a time or two before at Hurricanes, because, Randy was a bartender there and his friends came in. But as far as them making plans to hang out, honestly, obviously, I don't know what happened that night. Denson is married. He has a family. He has a good job. I know that, his story, or, what we've been told or whatever, all seems sketchy. But at the same time, I wonder if it's not sketchy because he, knows more than he would like to say publicly about what happened that night, or what was happening, or what his friend might be involved in, or whatever. So I'm not saying, that there's not a chance that he knows more or might have had something to do with it. I just, I really feel like with him, he was the one that found her phone. That's a very known fact, that he went back to the second bar to supposedly help her look for her phone, found it, thought that she was going to show up. She didn't. And the next morning, the first thing that he did was call her mother-in-law and say, hey, I have this phone, do you want to meet me so that I can give it to you, kind of thing.
So she realized she lost her phone at the Shell station, and he went from there back to the bar to look for it?
So the story that we were given is that while she's driving down the road, she realizes that she doesn't have her phone, and she flashes him.
Oh, I see.
While they're driving, either on
and that's why they
on the belt line, the side road, or the interstate. And that's just kind of another sketchy detail. You're driving down the road and you don't know that somebody's following you because you're going home, and now all of a sudden somebody's flashing you, and you're pulling over at a closed gas station at 11 o'clock at night. It's just,
it's a weird story.
I wasn't there, so I can't say what happened. But
yeah, and anybody we mentioned, we're not accusing anybody. Everything's just alleged, just to be clear on that. So this was like a caravan of cars, I'm assuming. The other cars went the other way, and she split off with him, right? Who were the other people was it Randy? Who were the other people that actually went to the correct spot?
I can't say whether or not he was with them at the Shell station. The only people that we know of for sure that were there were Daniella and Denson. There are other voices on the audio recording. But obviously, unless you're there, you can't say for sure who it is, or, you know, I mean, I don't
Can you
think
explain what the audio recording is from, where that was, where that's happened, where that's recovered from?
her Facebook.
Oh, this is the message after when they don't answer and it goes to the audio. Okay, so you hear the voices.
Like it's basically like an audio message on Facebook, but it's in the sense of it's a voicemail because he was calling. So apparently it's very common for Daniella to lose her phone. So it's very possible she didn't know her number by heart. So rather than calling her phone, he was calling her Facebook for Messenger, trying to locate her phone.
Right.
And you know, when it doesn't answer, I guess after a certain time, it rolls over into a voicemail. So there's actually 2 separate voice clips at 11:11 and 11:12 from them at the Shell station. And that is the biggest, I guess, red flag for the whole story, because to think that she drove from the Shell station to Saraland, to this, you know, neighborhood tucked in the back of this windy road where there's a boat launch, in the shape that you can hear her in on the audio, without some kind of path of destruction, without, you know, I mean, anything, hitting a guardrail, sideswiping a car, taking out a mailbox. I mean, any of it is just.
She was in rough shape, you're saying. She was really drunk. Would that be why? Because Layla has the same question as me. Why wouldn't she just go get her phone with him or herself? Why would she send him? Would that be why?
And see, I don't know. This is, you know, I wish she could answer it, and I wish that the people that were there would, you know, answer some questions. I do know that they gave statements, and, you know, they've been questioned by police, and phones have been gone through. The biggest thing for me to keep pushing with this is that it's not closed. You know, over a year ago, they said that everything appeared to be an accident, but the investigation isn't necessarily ongoing. It's open and inactive. But if they really, you know, believe that it was an accident, if everything pointed to an accident, and, you know, that's truly, you know, what this was, you would think at this point, coming up on almost 2 years since she was found, I mean, it'll be 2 years in May, that as much as, you know, you don't want it to, and I don't, it's not that I want somebody to be at fault for this. I do feel like I should make it super clear that I don't think that what happened to her that night was intentional. I do think that in a certain context there was an accident, and I just think that there was panic. And
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So something along those lines, maybe. But I'm not. I know you say his story is sketchy. I'm not really understanding his story. What does he say she does when he goes to look for the phone? Does she stay at the Shell station? What's their agreement? He says, "I'm going to get your phone." What is she supposed to be doing?
The story was that she followed him back.
She followed him to get her phone,
and that she kept going. And then, I mean,
she says, "Let's go get my phone." Follows him. He goes into the bar to get the phone. She just keeps driving. That's his story.
See, we were told actually by the waitress that night that her phone was found on the back of a car, actually the back of the waitress's car, when she went out to leave around 11:30.
Okay.
Her phone was found, and she took it inside to the bartender. And when she came back outside, he was, you know, I guess looking in the parking lot for the phone or whatever. And she asked him if he was looking for something. And he said, yeah, you know, my friend lost her phone. And so she told him, you know, that she had given it to the bartender, and he went inside and got the phone. And I don't know, there's a mix up of stories as far as what happened after that. I don't know if he ended up going to the third bar to meet Randy and Mallory, or he took his rental car back and returned it to the rental place, and went home. I haven't talked to him. I did speak with Randy, and I spoke with Mallory, but I never spoke with Denson. about any of this. So
Do you know, have the police checked, and again, we're not accusing anyone, we're just trying to piece together the story, but have the police checked his pings from that point, where he went, what happened?
from what I understand, he was looked into just as much as everybody else from that night. Tuesday night she went missing. Wednesday morning he called Julie, her mother-in-law, and basically said, hey, I have this phone, whatever. He kept in touch with her for the next 2 days, basically have you heard from her? This is kind of weird, whatever. And she didn't know him. And she just kind of assumed that Daniella was, celebrating, hanging out with their friends. And, when she figured out she lost her phone or needed to get it back, that, she would reach out or whatever. Well, by Thursday, her daughter had been out of town, and Thursday night her daughter had come home, and she was supposed to, be over there to welcome her daughter home. And when she didn't show up, that was when Julie kind of knew that something was wrong. And so that was when she put something out on Facebook and basically, kind of told people like, hey, if you see her, hear from her, know where she's at, whatever, have her get in touch with me. And then the next morning, I don't know if she called him or he called her, but somehow she told him that she was going to the police station to file a missing persons report. And he said, I'll meet you there. And I'll bring the phone. So they went to the police station closest to her house. And he turned over the phone to her. And they actually told them that they would have to go to headquarters, one of the other police stations, to go file the report. So they followed each other there. When they got there, Denson went in and gave his statement. And Julie went in and gave her statement and turned over the phone. And
So he's at least been cooperative. He hasn't, even though the story's kind of strange, he hasn't avoided police or anything, at least.
Well, and from what I understand, everybody from that night, and even Julie and her daughter's father have been polygraphed. Obviously, the results aren't public, but I believe that everybody, for the most part, has been cooperative.
And so a lot of people saying about who found the phone in the parking lot. Did he know? He didn't know it was there. Did you say a bartender found it? Did they go in and look? Because you would have went and looked where she was sitting and stuff. Who found the phone outside?
I guess the waitress from the bar that night. When she was leaving, she walked out to the parking lot.
So she already knew the phone's missing, and then she goes outside, sees it, and says, "Oh, this must be the missing phone."
No. She was just leaving, and if I remember right, it was on the back of her car. So she went to, walk to get into her car and saw this phone on the trunk of her car, and, went and turned it into the bartender and, told the bartender, hey, I found this on the back of my car. If anybody comes back for it, whatever. But as far as, it being hey, call the bar and see if they found it or anything like that, or somebody had been back yet. That what happened was she went and turned it into the bartender, and when she came back out to actually get in her car to leave is when she said that Denson was in the parking lot.
Okay, so he's pulling up there at that time.
Right, and he looked like he was looking for something. So that's when she told him, hey, I left it with the bartender.
Okay, so another thing, and I'm sorry, it's kind of a lot of parts of the story that don't seem to connect well. Why did her GPS last ping at the Shell if the car was then later found? You said 12 miles?
17.
17.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any explanation for that? Why don't we see her going towards the
That's
lake?
The big mystery. What happened? What happened at the gas station that made her GPS stop working? That, if she followed whoever it was back to wherever, why is that not tracked? So that's kind of where, the whole thing is a mystery, but that's kind of where the real question is what happened at the Shell station. Who was there? What
but
happened?
that's on camera, right? The Shell station.
Yeah, the thing about it is it was dark. The gas station was closed. So the surveillance is very, very grainy. Now, I'm sure, people with whatever technology they have, I don't know if it's possible to enhance an extremely grainy, blurry image. But as far as the normal eye can see, it's just some blurs of headlights and a figure big enough to be a car. And I mean, you can't.
So we're not even sure that's them other than the time, right? Or have we confirmed license plates and stuff?
No, I mean, not from surveillance. You can't. I from what I saw on surveillance, you can't. I mean, you couldn't even. I don't think you can tell if it's a car or an SUV or whatever. But the thing about it is, her GPS shows, at this time.
Oh, she's there. Right.
It pulls in at this address, and that time matches up with the time on the surveillance.
I see. Okay.
From when she pulls in there, and they're at the Shell station from like 11:04, I believe, is when they pull in there, and her car last pings at like 11:07, and supposedly they leave around 11:24 or whatever.
That's a long time to tell someone I left my phone.
Well, and so they were also, the story is that they were also looking for the phone at the Shell station, whether it be searching in her car.
Yeah, he's probably calling it to see if it rings in her car or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but that's still a long time for that. I mean, one or two of those, call, do you hear it? No, try it one more time. Call, do you hear it? No, boom, let's run back to the bar. I mean, that's like 3 to 5 minutes, right?
Well, and that's the thing.
I mean, they're drunk, so let's double it, but.
We know that there was 2 calls because there's 2 audio messages. So, as far as what they did, I mean, the audio messages that are 11:11, 11:12. So what'd you do for those other 12 minutes?
What happened? When those audio messages happened, he would have been with her still.
Right.
So is she's heard in the background? And how many people are heard in the background?
You can hear his voice, and then you hear her voice, which is not, and the thing, and I mean, I don't, I'm not a doctor or whatever, an investigator or anything, but it's not a drunk sound. It's a highly impaired,
slurring kind of, or what do we?
Yeah.
Are these publicly available? Because I haven't heard these.
Is what?
These voicemails, are they are? Oh, I didn't see. Okay, wow.
Yeah, they're
typically I would have found them. So, and I apologize. I'm just trying to get all together in my mind. Him, her, how many other voices are there? Or how many people do we know he's with? Or
it sounds like there is another male and possibly another female. Unless right. And that's the thing. She sounds in distress in the audio. She doesn't sound it's not just a drunk sound. It's like a moaning. It's like a it sucks, to be honest with you, to know that that's the last thing, whatever. And that's, I really honestly don't even, oh no, another podcast that we did is how that went out. But that was one of the things that it wasn't anything, that you want people to have to hear, because it is so gut-wrenching and heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was going to say I could try to play it, but I don't want to put you through it if it's something that's very tough to hear.
That's the shape she's in, and that's the last time you hear anything. You hear a man's voice, and then you hear her kind of just in that state, and then you hear the man's voice, or either the same man or another man, and what sounds like a girl, but it also sounds like a girl, like off in the distance, like maybe somebody's meeting them there. Or it doesn't sound like at the time like she's right there up close, or maybe not just to the speaker. I don't know. It seems like there's more than just the 2 of them there, especially with the time that they spend there.
Did you say that it's too difficult for you to listen to, or we have a lot of people asking to hear the audio? Did you say you don't want to play it, or?
It's not.
Because I think it might be important to people listening to hear it, people trying to help, But it's up to you. I don't want to put you through something that, is...
No, go ahead. I mean, no, it's not for me. I mean, as much as I, hate to say it, I've heard it so many times that I've kind of numbed to it. It's just one of those things that, like her friends, her long distance friends and whatever. I mean, it's out there already. You know what I mean? So.
And where, so it says my NBC uncovered message from Daniella. Where do you go to pull it up? I'm just trying to make sure. I'm surprised I didn't get this before. This is
okay,
weird.
so let me think. Are you able to go to?
Give me 1 second, guys.
Messages, because I think I
Yeah.
sent you a link from the original post is from a Brittany, and there's a bunch of maps and stuff in that link, and the audio is at the very bottom of that link. There's like 3 what just like looks like black photos, but they're actually the audio.
Oh, you already sent them with the pictures?
I think so. I'm afraid to pull this out and go to that because I'm on my phone, so I don't know if it's gonna like kick me out or.
All right, well, let me also, I'll get some, I'm going to pull up her route here. We can play it real quick. Let me put them in our file. Give me 1 second, guys. We also have some map stuff we're going to go over. Just 1 second. Just want to make sure I get them all. Just about 4 of these. Okay. Okay, so yeah, those are grouped together. I don't see the audio there. I don't see that I got any audio from you. I'm looking at everything.
Okay, so that post that I'm talking about is in the group page. Are you in the group?
I don't believe.
The NCPN group?
Oh, NPCN? I think I'm in a group.
The Justice for Danniella Vian page?
Hang on. No, I don't think I'm in that one. Hang on. I don't think I was. I would have put the link to that. I will put the link to that after, guys. No, I'm not. I wasn't even aware of that page. Okay. Could you play them right here, or I can because now I got to answer a bunch of questions and stuff to get in, and that sometimes it takes a while.
Okay, so how do can I just like minimize this?
Well, if you just play it through the speakers, we'll probably hear it off your thing. Is it a really long file or?
Oh, did I just lose it? Okay, no. All right, you're there.
You did go black, but I can hear you still.
No, not at all. Okay. All right, I'm gonna play it, and let me real quick before I play it. So this is a recording off of a computer. So basically, when they found when Julie found this message, they played it off of her Facebook on a laptop and recorded it on a phone. So there is an extra person saying that's at 11:11 and that's at 11:12. That is Julie's son when he's recording it. So he's not there. He's not part of it. He's just like the narrator, I guess, if you will. And at the very end of it, there is like a knock. You'll hear a knock at the door. That was actually during the recording. So like somebody, they were sitting in a room, trying to have a quiet space, and somebody came and knocked on the door. So that's just a kind of disclaimer that. But. So it's not playing. Okay, wait.
Are you still there? Got quiet all of a sudden. I'm answering the questions. Did we lose her? Shanna? Shanna, I think we lost you, and we're not hearing anything. Sean, I don't know if you can hear us, but we can't hear you. I'm assuming she's maybe playing it, thinking we're listening, and can't hear us. Let's give her a few minutes, guys, and I apologize for that. So, heck of a case, that story. I would love to speak to the other parties involving this. What's everybody think here in the chat? Story sounds off. I'm curious if the story changed at all, or what, did it at least stay consistent, although it's strange. Okay, there you are. Hi, Shauna. We lost you. We didn't hear anything.
I have no.
We can hear you. Oh, you can't hear us? We can hear you. Leave and come back. I'm going to type to you. Leave StreamYard and come back in. I just messaged you. Oh.
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah, give her a second, guys. Yeah, this is a heck of a case, Dawn. The best place to hear the audio is the cold case files on her case. Okay. Thank you, Aaron. We'll see what we can get on here, but yeah, this case is crazy. Hi, Shanna, can you hear us?
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah, we didn't hear the audio at all. You just totally went silent.
No.
Yeah, I assumed you were probably playing it thinking we were listening, but
I was.
Yeah. Are you the one that approves people for the group? If I can get in the group, I can play it, but I wasn't even aware there was a group. I looked for it too. Oh wait, I'm in the group now. Hang on a second.
Okay.
So where can I?
I have to go in there and approve you. So let me see if I can do
Well,
that.
I know I'm in the group. I'm approved. I just have to. You said it's on a post.
Yeah. Hold on. I think you might be in a different group. Let me.
Okay. Now, the one I'm in right now is Justice for Danniella Vian by MPCN.
Okay, you are in. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, at the top in the announcements, it was shared by Kayla White, but the original poster is Brittany. At the very bottom of those pictures, it says, there's 5 plus 22. There are 2. It just looks like a black picture, but if you click on it, that's the actual audio.
Okay, everything I'm seeing is just. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm in the group, and everything I'm seeing is just posted by you. Hang on.
So you don't see the announcements at the very top of the page?
No. Well, here I can show you what I'm looking at. Nobody message me, please. I don't want private messages popping up while we're doing this, so don't message me right now, please, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen right here? Oh wait, you know what? Announcements. Let me hit see all, because see, everything I'm seeing is just all by you. Shauna. It's all stuff by you. But let me hit see all at the top on announcements. Maybe that'll do it. By you. Is this them here? These pictures?
No.
The timeline?
Not that one. Not that. That right there. At the very bottom, go click on like the pictures. Sorry. Click on that post. But click on that plus. Click on that plus 22 in the pictures, in the photos. And then at the very bottom of the photos, there are 2 the 2 audio clips. One of them is, I believe, the background noise is pulled from. Okay. That is the first one.
Can you guys hear this or no? Can you hear it right now?
I can hear you, Jesus. But I can't hear that.
Okay, I have to, I gotta fix the share thing. I didn't do audio. Give me 1 second. Okay, remove, stop screen. Give me 1 second, guys. Share screen, share audio. Okay, you should be able to hear it this time. Give me 1 second. So tell me if you can hear it.
Yep.
You can hear it?
I remember you didn't have that double.
All right, that's at 11:11.
Oh, careful! Down there. You don't want to touch that.
Yeah, she's like whelping and crying in that one.
Yeah, that first one, she's like kind of lets out this, real uncomfortable moan and.
Yeah. Oh, there it is again. Oh, is this the same? This is the same one.
Yeah, that's the same one. I think the other one was like modified to try to pull some background sound out of. One of them was, it says at the bottom, but I don't remember which one's which.
Okay, well that's the first one I played. This one's the same length and it starts the same. We'll see if anything's different on this one. I don't like that sound at all.
I remember even having a double.
You say you're scaring me?
See,
Alright,
it's hard to say to hear what she's saying. A lot of people hear a lot of different things. You're trying way too hard. I'm trying to wave at her. They're trying to take my car. There's.
Oh, I mean, I can't pull too much from that. Maybe I got to listen more, but I can tell you one thing. I don't like the sound of her at all.
Yeah. And that's the thing. To think that,
let her drive.
Right. So that somebody not only would let her drive, but that she drove from, point A to point B. And, if the original story's true, that means she drove from, the Shell station back to, the last bar. And then who knows where she went from there.
Why would she drive to get her phone and just keep on going? That makes no sense.
Right. Well, and like I said, it doesn't, to me, and it's not just me, but to me, it doesn't make any sense that she would even make it that far without realizing already that she didn't have her phone, and that she wasn't going in the right direction to the plan of where she was going, and not drive all the way. I mean, the interstate is literally nowhere near where they were or where they were going. So for them to go in that direction and either take the interstate or the service road next to it, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Charles says she sounds like she's being tortured. I mean, maybe. She sounds like, that might be a little extreme, but she's in a lot of discomfort at the very least.
She just sounds like she's distressed. She's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like she is not in a position that she wants to be in. And the thing is too, also, her driving, remind you, she hadn't had a car for over 2 years. And the last car that she had was totaled, and there was a lapse of insurance. So it took forever for her to be able to be in a position where she could get a car, pay for it, afford it, get approved, all of that. At 8:25 or 8:30 that night, she's messaging one of her, one of her friends or whatever, hey, should I drive? I don't know, should I drive? So then to think that 3 hours later, in that condition, that she either got in her car or somebody let her get in her car, and drive, 17 miles somewhere that she's not familiar with, because again, she hadn't had a car for 2 years. So the people that were with her, that were giving her rides, taking her here and there, nobody had taken her to this area. She had no reason to be where she was found. No, known connections over there. And it's not to say that, she didn't get a car and decided to, randomly go see somebody, but in that shape, after already questioning, should I be doing this? It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And not only that, explain the tracker situation. It worked all day with no problem up until that Shell station. And after that, it never makes another ping. Why? Why is that?
Makes no sense that it didn't ping anywhere from there. And it's found 17 miles away. And she also apparently drove back to the bar the other way. And it's like,
right.
Oh, we got to think about this one. If anybody knows any information, please, guys, come forward. Never assume what you know is already known or it's too little to matter or anything like that. Please come forward if you know anything. Shauna, I'd like to do something at the end of these or towards the end where you speak directly, depending on the case. If it's a missing person, I have you speak directly to them. Obviously, in this case, she's not missing any longer, but I would like you to speak directly to someone who may have information that's not coming forward. Whether it be the person responsible or just someone who knows them and is maybe scared to come forward or choosing not to for whatever reason. But I'd like for you to take a moment and maybe just let them know what yourself and the family are going through. everything that this has caused, and just maybe make a plea to them that if they know anything, to please come forward, whether it be to you via your Facebook link, which is in the description, or to the authorities, or whoever they would prefer to talk to. But would you like to speak directly to anyone who may have some information?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. The people that were with her that night, we know them. There's something missing. There is one thing missing, whether it be a distress call or a call, hey, help me, get rid of this, we won't get caught, whatever. Um, we're past that. We know that she was found. And the thing is, everybody has a family. Everybody has somebody that cares about them, that, looks out for them, loves them. Um, I'm going to pull a heartstring. She has a little girl that deserves to be able to know the truth one day. She's not old enough to know right now. But the fact that almost 3 years have gone by since this all happened, and there still isn't an answer to be able to give her when she asks questions. Nobody knows anything more than her mom was found, and nobody can tell her how that happened because nobody knows, because somebody is holding on to this dark secret, whether their fear is that they're going to get in trouble, that they're going to be painted out to be this horrible person. Accidents do happen. Maybe the wrong thing was done that night, and instead of calling for help, this is what ended up happening. But nobody can keep a secret. There is somebody out there that knows how this happened or why this happened. And I promise you'll sleep better at night if you come forward. Not only that, her family, her daughter, and the community deserve this. We have pushed for answers for so long, and I'm not going to stop. I feel like I've made that pretty clear. Um, no matter what. And each time that something else comes out, it will continue to be public information. So the more that this is, tried to be concealed, and we try to hold on to the truth or whatever, then the more exposure there is on who these people really are. Because like I said, somebody knows how this happened. Somebody has that missing link, that piece of information that will help them put the pieces together, so that her daughter knows that her mom just didn't decide to not come home one night, because at this point, that's where she's at. She knows her mom's gone, and the last thing she knew was that her mom was supposed to come and see her when she got back from being out of town, and that never happened. And somebody's holding on to that. You might have a child, a son or a daughter, or somebody that's close to you. Imagine if they were in her shoes. Put yourself in the shoes of her and her family and what they've had to go through, and the heartache. And nobody wants to think that anybody is capable of something like this, but the fact is it happened. And it's not going to go away. She deserves better than the picture that's been painted for her. And I pray that it weighs on your heart to do the right thing, not just for her, but for you. You will feel better. Your family will feel better. And I'm not going to say that this will all go away, but this won't be something that you have to stomach and try to sleep with. It's time.
Absolutely.
It's way past time.
Very well said. And not even to bring up karma, but I don't know if you believe in karma, but holding something like this in, you're not doing yourself any good. All you're doing is hurting people, and which is going to lead to you hurting yourself in some way or another.
Right.
So please come forward. People are suffering. Never assume people already know what you know. Never assume it's not important enough to matter. These cases are always solved by a tiny little piece of information that links to another tiny piece, and boom, the puzzle gets solved.
That's the thing. So many of those little pieces have already, started to kind of come together, where this other picture has been painted of what, might have really happened that night from people, that were involved with people from that night. And like I said, there's something missing. There's a missing link. There's one thing that they need to kind of tie all of this together, and somebody has it.
Yeah. And if you do know anything, we will go over the authorities in just a moment, who to contact. I did put Shauna's Facebook in the description below, as well as my information. You always want to contact the someone like Shauna or her family or the authorities versus just me, especially if it's time sensitive. It doesn't make sense to just contact me, but I have no problem, getting communications. I'm just saying you don't want to only go to me because you want the family to get it, or the loved ones, let's say. So please make sure to go to them, and you can send some to me as well if you would like. It's in the description. I have put Shauna's profile there. I wasn't even aware. I looked for her page, and surprisingly, it didn't come up. That's why I didn't have the audio, because I didn't find the group. But I will put it. I can't put it yet, but once this ends, we're going to finish here in just a minute, and I will go back and put the link to the Justice for Danniella Vian MPCN group. I'll put it in the description below as well. I'll put it in the links, where all the relevant links are in the description. Just expand it where it says show all or show more or whatever. So make sure to do that. I do want to thank you for coming on tonight, Shauna. You're an amazing representative for your friend. Before we finish up, though, let's just give the number to the authorities as well. I think it's here. Yeah, it says call obviously 911 or Mobile Police at 251-208-7211. It says 251, once again,
Yes.
208-7211. It does say $5,000 reward. Is that current? Is that still active?
I don't think so. I think that was for before she was found. I don't think so anymore, but I mean, that's something that you'd have to probably ask MPD, but I do believe that was from before she was found. So.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, you did amazing tonight. I know that she's proud of you, and I know all the work that you do. I can see every post there is from you almost. I know you're doing a ton of work to help your friend, and I know you're going to eventually bring closure to this case and closure to the family. And just let us know. Everybody, please go. It's not there yet. Give it 10 minutes and then come back to the video, reload it or whatever, and I'll have the link to the group. Please go and sign up for her group and stay active on the case. Try to help out, see what's going on, see what develops. So please do that on our Facebook group. Everybody, please help out. Don't just finish with this interview. We want to continue to help going forward. So that's basically it. Thank you so much, Shauna. I'm going to end it there. Unless there's anything else that we didn't think to talk about that you want to make sure to get out.
I mean, I could talk forever. I just, again, the people that, have their stories about, the people from that night, I truly believe that those are the people that, I don't need them to come to me, but call MPD, share your experience, share your story, because that is how they, really get an idea of who somebody is outside of a story that they're given, or, what we see. Everybody we know is somebody that we don't really know, whether it be good or bad or whatever. But that's kind of where everything is headed, is if we can get these people that, have similar experiences to what happened to her that night, or something that correlates with, something that happened to them that happened to her, come forward to, call them so that they can, put these pieces together for, I just feel like at this point, everybody would want that for themselves or their family or their children. And that's ultimately what this is about. This isn't about getting revenge or vengeance or, getting somebody in trouble. This is so that her daughter doesn't ever have to do this, doesn't ever have to go searching through these videos and, the YouTube, Facebook posts and all of this stuff to find the answers. It's so that one day when she's old enough, somebody can sit her down and say, look, this is what happened, and that they're not, then be able to answer questions and not have to say, well, I don't know about that, or I'm not sure about that, or whatever, not that anybody wants to have this conversation with their child. But unfortunately, these things happen, and that is reality. So again, put yourself in those shoes.
Absolutely. Well said. And very last question, Don Break asked, what was the amount of time from first audio to second? I'm guessing just a minute or two in between the audios.
Basically 11:11 and 11:12 is when they were recorded. That was when they came through on Facebook. Okay. So
okay, cool. Yeah, so about a minute, Don. All right, Shanna, thank you so much. You were an amazing guest. You were a great representative for your friend. Keep in touch with me moving forward. Let me know if there's any developments. If the case is solved or any major information comes forward that you think coming on again would help the case. My show is always open to you. You can come on anytime. We can do a part 2. We do that often for cases that have developments. So just let me know anything that develops, as a result of the show or otherwise, and just send me a message.
All right. I really appreciate it. Thank you too.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Have a great night, Shanna.
You too.
And justice for Daniella. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Truth and justice for Daniella. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a delay there that's why at the end we were talking over each other a bit. It was not intentional. Thank you so much to everybody who joined. I want to thank you. Please do like the video. It tells YouTube that you enjoyed it. So it has YouTube recommended out to more people. Over the last few months, notifications have been going out a lot less and viewership is down quite a bit because of it. Still doing well, but just we were on an upward trajectory and we've kind of hit a plateau. So just please like the video and all that stuff, comment on it, stuff like that. It helps the rankings. Also, if you'd like to support the show, we put dozens and dozens and dozens of hours a week into finding the families and growing the show and researching the cases and all that kind of stuff. If you expand the description, the ways to support are at the bottom of the description. And I will put in the page Justice for Danielle Vian once we're finished. So thank you to everybody saying that we're doing a good job here. I appreciate it. If you would like to support the show, that is where you can do it. There's the PayPal link and all that stuff. So no requirement to, but if you would like to support the show, that is where to do so. And it helps us out greatly. So thank you so much to anyone who considers doing that. And thank you also to anyone who viewed, and please go and give it 5 minutes, reload the page, and we will have the link to her Facebook group up in the description. Again, you have to expand it. All right, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Jason Hebert Live. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow. We have another case tomorrow, Tuesday night, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Love you guys. I'll see you then. Take care. And tomorrow is a case brought to me by John Lorden, actually. So I want to give him a shout out. He is the one that brought this case to me. He shot me an email and recommended this person. And I got in touch with them through John Lorden of Lorden Arts, who is a friend of the channel, who we love very much. Great guy. And we look up to him and we support him. So thank you to him. And thank you to all you guys. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. And we'll probably have a morning show tomorrow too. Almost definitely. All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.